But what does he know? He knows fuck all. I'm disgusted with. And some of it's aimed probably not at him, more at me, because they're small-minded pricks. But they know fuck all.
Being suspended by the board, getting a massive hefty fine by the board, the show could be in risk of being cancelled. All these things, he knows the power to be. They know that they want the fight desperately. So he's going to do whatever he wants to try and get under the skin.
Planet is everybody on here. Where do I think it comes from? Idiots. But
Jermaine Franklin just threw away any chance of winning this fight with one idiotic slap. And I'm not talking about the actual slap itself. I'm talking about what that moment revealed about his mental state going into the biggest test of his career against Moses Itoma. Because when you watch that face-off back, when you see Franklin's hand connect with Moses' face, you're not just watching disrespect. You're watching a desperate veteran trying to get inside the head of a young killer who's about to end his relevance forever. Frank Warren's reaction says it all. This wasn't promotion anymore. This was pure panic from Franklin, and everyone in that room knew it.
pair of pricks. How about that? That's what they are. Keep going on about this. It's just beyond ridiculous. And it's feeding all... And I've got to say something. Do you know what? All the idiots who listen to this, because that's what they are, more...
Here's what nobody's talking about, though. Moses Itoma didn't flinch. Not even a little bit. While Franklin's losing his composure and throwing slaps like some amateur trying to go viral, Moses just stood there with this cold, calculated look that should terrify anyone paying attention. That's not the reaction of a young prospect getting rattled by veteran mind games. That's the response of a future champion who's already 3 steps ahead of whatever Franklin thinks he's doing. And Frank Warren. The man's been promoting fights for decades, and even he looked genuinely angry at what Franklin pulled. When a promoter who's seen everything calls your behavior crossing the line, you've officially lost the plot.
I don't like it. People think because you're a promoter you like all that stuff. Me, I didn't like what. They both got that, and who will prevail? Because I'm not being disrespectful. They're in their 40s, aren't they now? So the speed that they had a few years ago is not there. Their styles will blend to make it a real. As soon as that bell goes, right on top of each other, and they'll be thrown.
But here's where this gets absolutely wild. Johnny Nelson called it perfectly when he said Franklin just stepped into the villain role. Except Franklin doesn't understand what kind of movie he's in. He thinks he's the grizzled veteran teaching the young gun a lesson about respect. Reality check. He's the aging fighter about to get demolished by someone who operates on a completely different level. Moses Itoma isn't just another prospect being carefully moved up the rankings. This kid is being thrown into serious tests early because his team knows something the rest of us are just starting to figure out. He's not normal. The speed, the timing, the way he dissects opponents, it's all happening at an accelerated pace that most heavyweights never reach.
And if he's going to play a villain, he's playing a very good villain right there, because that's all everybody's talking about. It's like, why? What were you thinking?
And get this, Eddie Hearn immediately recognized how explosive the situation had become and started talking about keeping them separated. That's not standard protocol for a regular boxing promotion. That's what happens when you have real bad blood brewing between 2 fighters, and one of them has the skills to turn that anger into something devastating. Franklin thinks he lit a fire under himself with that slap. What he actually did was give Moses Itoma every justification he needs to make this personal. And when a fighter with Moses' technical ability decides to make it personal, that's when careers end in spectacular fashion.
You honestly think if these two come together like this, well, you know what's going to happen?
So what you gonna...
Isaac Lowe hit the nail on the head too. When you step into someone's space like that in front of a crowd, something's always going to happen. Franklin knew exactly what he was doing, but here's the kicker. Against most fighters, maybe that kind of psychological warfare works. Maybe you rattle them, get them emotional, make them fight angry instead of smart. But Moses Itoma isn't most fighters. The kid's been handling pressure and staying composed since he turned professional. Franklin's amateur hour theatrics aren't going to suddenly break someone who's already proven he can think clearly under fire. If anything, Franklin just gave Moses permission to showcase exactly why everyone's calling him the future of the heavyweight division.
Man's face in front of a hall with over 500 people, what do you expect someone to do? Pushing and shoving, and we all know Big John's quick-tempered, you know what I mean? But he threw the headbutt first, so It is what it is, but I think
Now listen to this part, because Roman Fury backing his fighter with full confidence should tell you everything about how Moses' team views this matchup. They're not worried. They're not scrambling to adjust game plans or manage expectations. They're confident because they've seen what Moses does to fighters who try to intimidate him, and it never ends well for the intimidator. The more people got involved in that face-off chaos, the more intense everything became, but Moses remained the eye of the storm. Calm, focused, ready to handle business. That's champion mentality showing up early in someone's career, and Franklin just walked right into it.
Trying to pick on the old man, and the old man will go to town. But there's enough young men what will sort him out for them.
You want some smoke from Calfrod?
I'll be Calfrod.
I don't know you, but I'm back in.
Here's what's really fascinating, though. Liam Goff broke down the boxing side perfectly, and he's absolutely right about Franklin being a solid test. The man's not elite, but he's experienced and awkward enough to ask questions of younger fighters. Against Dillian Whyte, Franklin showed he could hang with established names and make things competitive. But here's the problem with that analysis. Moses Idoma isn't just another young heavyweight working his way up. He's faster than Franklin, sharper than Franklin, and far more dangerous than anything Franklin's faced recently. This is exactly the kind of fight where real contenders separate themselves from the pack, and Moses has been preparing for this moment his entire career. Franklin's experience advantage disappears when you can't keep up with your opponent's speed and precision.
I think that Jermaine Franklin versus Moses Itauma is a really, really good fight for Itauma's progression. I think he's a solid opponent. I've got no issues whatsoever. It's on a very, very good card. No mention of pay-per-view as well, which is even better. But it's a solid opponent. Jermaine Franklin, when he fought Dillian Whyte, going into that fight, I kind of looked at him and thought, he looked awkward, but nothing special. He gave a good account of himself against Dillian Whyte. Some people actually felt that he did enough to win the fight. I wasn't one of them. I thought Dillian Whyte.
But wait, it gets even better. Listen to Moses Idoma talk about this fight, and the confidence doesn't sound forced at all. He genuinely believes no one can live with him at his best, and when you watch his previous performances, you start to understand why that belief is justified. The composure he shows, the way he picks his shots, the timing on his combinations, it all looks levels above what you'd expect from someone his age. He's not overlooking Franklin or taking him lightly. He's just supremely confident that if he performs at his highest level, there's nothing Franklin can do to change the outcome. That kind of self-belief becomes dangerous when it's backed up by legitimate skill and proven performance inside the ring.
I don't think anybody can beat me, especially with the team that I've got. I don't think anybody can beat me on my night. I think, obviously, nobody's invincible. There's a possibility that it can go wrong. But I just think if you're talking about on the odds, I just don't think anyone could be standing in front of me.
Meanwhile, Franklin's trying to project confidence by talking about adapting to speed and changing tactics. But this feels like a fighter who's underestimating what he's walking into. Sparring fast fighters in the gym is completely different from facing a young heavyweight who combines elite speed with precision timing and knockout power. Franklin can talk about tactical adjustments all he wants, but the real question is whether he can actually implement those changes when Moses starts applying pressure and landing clean shots. You don't just deal with Moses Idoma's speed in isolation. You deal with accuracy, intent, and intelligence behind every single punch he throws. That's a much more complex problem to solve.
No, he might be one of the fastest guys, but I spar a lot of fast guys. I think I'm ready for that.
Hold up, did you catch what Gareth A. Davies said about how close that situation came to completely exploding? With both teams packed in tight and emotions already running high, Franklin's slap could have triggered something far worse than a heated exchange of words. This wasn't just a minor incident that got blown out of proportion. This was seconds away from absolute chaos, with security scrambling and everyone trying to prevent a full-scale brawl. When things get that heated before the actual fight, it tells you everything about the genuine tension and animosity heading into the ring. Moses Idoma stayed composed throughout that entire mess, and that level of emotional control could be the decisive factor when they finally settle this properly.
About 25 in each team. There's about 150 international media here as well in the mezzanine floor. It was still dramatic anyway, but thankfully the security did a great job as well.
Roy Jones Jr. made an incredibly important observation about Moses Idoma's demeanor throughout all this drama. While everything around him was getting heated and chaotic, Moses maintained his composure and stayed focused on what actually matters. That's not just good coaching or media training. That's a natural sign of a fighter who truly understands big moments and refuses to let external emotions dictate his performance. Franklin brought chaos and theatrics, but Moses brought control and confidence. In boxing, that fundamental difference in mindset often separates good fighters from the ones who go on to dominate divisions and win world titles. When the bell rings and all the talking stops, that calm energy can quickly transform into something absolutely devastating for opponents.
Going through the motion, he's serious about it, so I liked it.
Yeah, like his energy was like very calming throughout the week.
Yes, it was.
Franklin kept talking tough, trying to play the fearless warrior role, but there's a massive difference between projecting confidence and dealing with reality inside the ring. Moses Idhama has already proven multiple times that he can handle pressure situations, adapt quickly to different fighting styles, and ruthlessly punish any mistakes his opponents make. Franklin's claims about experience might give him some psychological comfort, but Moses actually thrives against fighters who think they can outsmart or intimidate him. This fight isn't going to be decided by aggression or trash talk. It's going to come down to timing, precision, ring intelligence, and the ability to execute under pressure. Moses Idhama has demonstrated all of those qualities consistently, while Franklin's behavior at the face-off showed he's already letting emotions cloud his judgment before the fight even starts.
I'm not them. I'm Jermaine Franklin Jr. I'm a warrior inside and out, and I'll die for this. So he gonna have to do the job. I'm not.
De Oladipo absolutely nailed the stylistic breakdown, and it heavily favors Moses Idhama in almost every conceivable way. While Franklin might bring raw aggression and a warrior mentality, Moses combines elite speed, perfect timing, and technical awareness that could make Franklin's brawling approach work directly against him. Being taller with better reach, Moses can control the distance, pick his spots, and land clean shots while staying out of Franklin's power range. Franklin's willingness to engage in firefights might seem admirable, but it's likely to play right into Moses' hands, allowing him to dictate pace and punish overextensions. The mental edge clearly belongs to Moses too. He weathered all that pre-fight chaos while maintaining perfect composure, while Franklin let his emotions boil over completely. Style, strategy, and mental control usually prove more decisive than heart alone.
Moses brings his own problems to Jermaine, but they're probably around the same height, maybe Moses a couple of inches taller. I like this matchup. Stylistically, I like this matchup as well. Like, Jermaine comes to fight, and that could sort of fall into Moses' hands.
So here you have it. Moses Idhama has already won this fight mentally, and Franklin's desperate slap just confirmed what everyone suspected. This isn't about two evenly matched heavyweights settling a score. This is about a rising superstar using a veteran's desperation to announce himself to the boxing world. Franklin can bring all the experience and toughness he wants, but Moses operates on a different level entirely. When that first bell rings, all the trash talk disappears and only skill matters. And frankly, Moses Idhama has more skill in his left hand than Franklin's shown in his last 3 fights combined. Here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Do you think Franklin's mind games backfire completely, or does his experience give him any real chance against this young killer? If this breakdown opened your eyes to what's really happening, smash that like button, subscribe for more boxing analysis, and hit notifications because this fight's going to be absolutely explosive. I'll see you in the next one.
Time, I think we've put together a brilliant fight with Jermaine Franklin, the American. It's going to be a good fight. I think, with Moses and him, I think it's going to be a good fight, and I think it's a good test for Moses.